Hey everybody, it is Royal Rumble weekend. You know what that means, drinking games. So let's try one right now. Take a drink anytime you see a Kenny Omega post pop up on Reddit. Are you still alive? Good. Okay, so I waited to record this so we could watch some Impact before we got into it. Impact was a very good episode this week. If you haven't watched it, see if it's on your on-demand cable systems. If not, try and catch a replay. It was really good. New champion, Eddie Edwards, lost the belt. Surprisingly, Davey Richards was not involved. They kind of telegraphed a heel turn and a little split between the two American Wolves. Didn't happen. Eddie Edwards lost mostly clean to Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is the champion again. So we'll see how that goes. Big news, obviously, this weekend is the Rumble. We're going to get into that in a second, but first let's take a look at TakeOver. TakeOver, we've got Roderick Strong versus Andrade Almas. Roddy is playing the face in this, which is kind of weird, because when he first came in, he was teamed with Austin Aries. They were kind of playing on their history together, and then Aries got injured. And now Roddy is playing the good guy, which is weird because he's not a natural face. He's a natural heel. But Almas is finally coming into his own, finally seeing all this stuff that they were saying about Sombra in Mexico, how Sombra was the greatest. Sombra was the greatest heel. You know, he led Los Ingobernables. I think I've talked about this before. He is coming into his own. He's a great heel. I think he's going to win this, because he needs a little bit more establishing where he's at than Roddy needs where he's at. Roddy actually kind of needs to lose so he can find his mean streak and be a bad guy again. We've got Asuka versus Nikki Cross versus Billie Kay versus Peyton Royce. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are doing a really good thing right now with their little team up, but it's not going to be enough to take the belt off of Asuka. Nikki Cross is doing great. I think she's going to come out of this looking the best. But in the end, Asuka's going to win. She's not going to lose. It's a four-way match. She's got the greatest chance of losing. No, she doesn't. She's going to win. She's not going to lose it for at least a calendar year. And it's probably going to end up being to Ember Moon, who they're taking out of the scene. They're making sure she's not in the title scene for that reason. I'm fairly confident of that. Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young. Dillinger's playing off of his Crisis of Faith thing right now, while Young is trying to establish Sandy as a force to be reckoned with. Everybody seems to be expecting Ty Dillinger to debut at the Rumble the next day. I'm hoping that's not the case. I think putting him in at number 10 just because people keep chanting number 10, I don't like it. I think it rewards the 10 chants that are one of the worst things in wrestling today. I really am hoping that Ty Dillinger is not showing up at the Royal Rumble. I think he needs a main roster promotion. Don't expect much out of him. I expect him to be kind of like Tyler Breeze has been, where he's just going to be a mid-carder. He might have a run with a mid-card title at some point, but don't expect a whole lot out of him. People don't seem to be connecting to him. They seem to be connecting to the 10. And I know people say that a lot. Sometimes it's right. And I think when they say about Ty Dillinger, it's right. But I would expect him to lose. I think it keeps him going with this, what's next for Ty? How can I handle losing all the time thing? Because if you start giving him momentum, what's he going to do with it? He's not staying in NXT much longer, I wouldn't think. You can't give him too much momentum because you're not going to make anything out of him on the main roster. Then we got hashtag DIY versus Authors of Pain. It's weird. On one hand, I don't think they're going to take the belts off of DIY in their first major defense against the new team. On the other hand, they're both ready for the main roster. They've been on NXT for a while, but they've connected with the crowd. They seem to be doing really good on everything. I'm not privy to what goes on backstage. I don't know what the Performance Center thinks they still need to do. But in my mind, they're ready. I think both them and the Revival are ready. I would love, especially now that the Revival's feuded team is out. TM61, one of the guys, I think it's Shane, is injured. So since they can't do that feud, I think bring both the Revival and DIY up to the main roster. Split them up on different shows. Let them come back for one of the big four later in the year, next year, somewhere down there. But bring them both up. And I think for that to happen, DIY has to lose the belts. I think Authors of Pain make a really good monster heel tag team. I just don't know if they're going to win it this time. They're definitely going to be tag champs before they get promoted. They're definitely not ready to get promoted yet. But I would love to see the Authors of Pain come up to win the tag team titles next TakeOver. So, hoping that's what happens. Nakamura versus Rude. A lot of people are wondering when Nakamura is going to get promoted. He's another one that he could be a special project like Finn Balor was, where he takes some extra time. No idea. If that's the case, he could stay as champ for a long time. Bobby Roode probably doesn't need as much polish. He had a lot more experience on American television. I know that people are going to say, well, New Japan was huge. New Japan does not play to a hard camera the way WWE does, and that's part of the reason why Finn Balor stayed down in NXT so long, is it's a lot different playing to a hard camera than it is playing to any crowd. And if you watch the New Japan shows, a lot of them you don't see as much with the hard camera. It's not as big a deal. You watch the all the Road to shows that are the ones you see most often on New Japan World, and it's just a completely different animal. So it could be a case where Nakamura needs to stay for a lot longer. People don't think about that. They only look at him in the ring and they see, oh, well, he's ready, he's polished, he's got 10, 12, however many years under his belt. That's not everything. Bobby Roode has that because he was on TNA for so long, and TNA has the same hard camera that he's been playing to. That's one of the reasons why AJ Styles was able to go right into the WWE main roster. He didn't have to have that time. He was used to it. He knew how to do that, and that's why I think Bobby Roode probably is not going to win, and I wouldn't expect him to be in NXT for a whole lot longer either. That's going to do it for that show. Royal Rumble predictions. We've got Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks. Sasha can afford a loss where she's at right now. She's kayfabe injured, so she's got an excuse. And if they're working on a heel turn for her, which I think is the way to go with her, then she can definitely afford to lose as a babyface. The problem is there's not enough baby faces on the roster right now, so that might not be where they're going with her. But I feel like either way, she can still afford to lose more than Nia can. Nia has to be painted as a monster, especially on the off chance. I don't think it's how they're going tonight, but if Bayley wins, then Nia has to look like a monster coming for her. And if she just lost to Sasha, she loses some of that. Going on to Charlotte versus Bayley, I think Charlotte wins. I think she keeps her pay-per-view streak. She might lose to Bayley the next night on Raw, but Charlotte wins at the pay-per-view. There's no way that streak ends yet. You got Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi versus Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, and Natalya. This one's harder to call because there are all the different feuds going on, and it's hard to see where they're going to go with it. You're going to see a lot of spotlight between Naomi and Alexa because they want to go with that. You're going to see Becky Lynch try and get her hands on Mickie James, so you're going to see a little bit of Natalya and Nikki Bella, but they're also going to try to spin something new out of that, set up for feuds afterwards. I think it's going to end up with the heels standing tall. You've got to have the champion looking good, especially if she cheats to win or she uses Mickie James as her muscle. I think in the end, Mickie James comes out looking the strongest. She's probably going to pin Becky or make her submit or something. She's going to make Becky look bad. And then Alexa Bliss gets to claim the credit for her team. Sheamus and Cesaro versus Gallows and Anderson should close out the pre-show. I want the club to win. I really do. I think it would be great to have a shot during the show of Gallows and Anderson with the Raw Tag Team belts and AJ Styles with the World Championship. As a club reunion. We're probably going to see something with them together anyway, because this is the only time you get to see the club together now is with these co-branded pay-per-views. I think if they had the belts, it would be great. I don't like the idea of pulling the belts off of Sheamus and Cesaro so early, because I think once you take the belts off of them, you kind of kill the team as a whole. But it might be time to kill the team as a whole. I think we're going to see Sheamus and Cesaro lose the belts and the club pick up the win. Rich Swann versus Neville. Swann retains, but he does so in a way that Neville looks strong. He might accidentally get disqualified for bumping into the referee. It might be a count-out win, or Neville might get pissed off and get himself disqualified. But whatever it is, it's going to make Neville look like the dominant one in the end, whereas Rich Swann will actually leave with the belt. You got Styles versus Cena. I don't know when they're going to give Cena his 16th title reign, but I don't think it's on Sunday. I know they've been going out of their way to promote him, but I think a lot of that's just because he's such a recognizable face. I don't think he's going to have the belt right now. A lot of people have been trying to make something out of him posting on Instagram his supposed heel theme. He's going to turn heel at a Royal Rumble, and there's too many bad guys, not enough good guys, not enough faces on SmackDown for him to turn heel. Unless they do some kind of double turn, and that just seems unlikely. I think Styles wins. He'll probably win cheaply. He's already won clean. I think he can afford to lose face while still winning the match. I think Styles comes out with the belt at the end. Reigns versus Owens. I gotta think that Owens is going to retain. I think there's money in him being the champ at WrestleMania, and that doesn't happen if he's not the champ going into WrestleMania. I think you've got to chase him. I don't think people really want to see Reigns win that much, and I think WWE, as much as they don't want to hear it, they do hear it. I think he looks weak losing. I think they want to make him look like he can, like he's vulnerable. Somehow Chris Jericho gets involved. You don't put somebody in the shark cage unless they're going to be a part of the finish. We saw it with the TM61 versus Authors of Pain match with their manager in the shark cage, where he dropped the chain, and the chain was supposed to be used as a weapon, and it didn't work out. But the idea was that he got involved in the match. Chris Jericho somehow is going to get involved. He's going to help Kevin Owens win. Kevin Owens retains. Looks bad, but he retains. As far as the Rumble goes, the actual 30-man Royal Rumble, your guess is as good as mine. I haven't a clue. We've got 8 mystery entrants. You can watch the video. I'll put a link up to it of my WWE 2K17 simulation. I made some wild speculation about who those 8 entrants could be. One of them, not a very safe bet at all. But even one of them could win. There are so many people that could win. I don't think Lesnar or Goldberg are going to win. I think that they are in the Rumble to hype a rematch at WrestleMania. I don't think Undertaker wins. he's got a chance. He's got a better chance than Lesnar and Goldberg. But I don't think he does. I think you can sell an Undertaker WrestleMania match without him going for the belt. Braun Strowman's not going to win. He's going to look impressive, but he and Big Show are going to have their moment, and then that's probably going to not turn into much because Big Show's already got his WrestleMania match against Shaq booked. I don't know. All the big names are so... they don't need it. And all the young names, well, what? I mean, that's the whole point of them winning. If they do win, is it's a surprise. So it is so hard to call. Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins. There you go. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm sorry we didn't have more to talk about what has happened, but honestly, other than the Kenny Omega speculations, this really has not been that big a week. It's really all about this coming weekend. I thank you for sticking with me for as long as you did. You know the deal. I'm going to throw up the videos. I'm going to throw up the subscribe button. And I'm probably going to use that one that has that big, ugly Twitter QR code right here. Please, hit like, hit subscribe, do all that stuff. Tell your friends. I love you guys. I love you, my Trampions. As always, I am the Tramp. Cheers.